Welcome to episode 4 of Fit Life Journeys. This is the podcast where we dispel myths of diet culture and talk about the real truth behind living a fit life. In order to do that, we bring on real people and talk about their journeys. Today, I'm once again joined by coaches Teeha and Kari, and we're going to get right into our conversation. I've watched Teeha over the years come here, lose weight, to get to do that really focused thing where she got like freaking tiny, and then do the like backslide that happens to almost everyone. Work with a nutrition coach and really focus. Do the I'm going to do it on my own thing, and then I don't know if you noticed this, but it didn't work out always. Oh God, that's like the hardest thing to tell somebody. They're like, I'm going to do it on my own, and you want to be like, but are you?
Right.
It's tricky, but then it was like all of a sudden I started seeing it and like, oh, she is. She's got this now. She is doing this, and it's like, you see her get back to this point, and it's like, I don't know if it's the same point she was at before, and I don't care because she's happier. She's confident, and I'm like, dang girl, like this is like Uber tea or whatever, because she's fit, she's confident, she's got her crown on.
Right, I'm wearing crowns, y'all.
But like, you guys talk about being coaches and feeling like you need to look a certain way or whatever. It's like physically, like, you don't have to be like I'm not saying you're not in great shape right now.
Yeah.
I'm saying like you are not the skinniest I have seen you.
Yeah, I'm not.
But you're probably a better coach than you were then, because your confidence in who you are and what you can do is higher.
I agree with all of that.
I was like, was any of that offensive? Because I'm not trying to be offensive, but I'm trying to talk about real topics here, and sometimes it gets a little.
Yeah, I agree with all of that.
Yeah. So what happened?
When I first came in, I was, you have this image in your mind. This is I had an image and a number. And this is where I wanted to be. And I, kind of killed myself trying to get there. And I never got to that number, but I got to a place in like my clothes and whatever that I was happy with. And then, lockdown happened, and we were stuck in our houses with our families and lots of liquor. Lots and lots of liquor.
Yeah, Mike and I did a lot of takeout to support our local businesses.
Yes, that too. We had a lot of takeout. It was less focused on nutrition. I didn't, the boot camps weren't the same. I have to have like people around. Otherwise,
you need the energy.
I need the energy. I need like the eyes. They may not be on me, but I feel like
to know they're there.
If I don't do what I'm supposed to do, that perhaps someone will see that. So if I'm at home and we're doing it virtually, nobody's watching me.
No.
Nobody's watching that I didn't do my... You were...
I did the replay.
I'm like, where are you?
I'm always watching.
I would do the replays, and there were times that I'd be like, I'm tired. I would
Yeah.
That's why we never did replays in my house, because they were not going to get done.
I would stay up late because I'm like, I don't have anywhere to be in the morning, so I'm just going to stay up late and watch TV and whatever. Right. And I would be exhausted then because I still got up early. I'm like, but then my kids would heckle me. They'd be like, aren't you supposed to be working out?
Yeah.
They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just looking at some stuff on my phone. I'm shopping on Amazon. Don't you judge me. I'm going to buy this thing. I'm going to add to cart, and then I'm going to check out. I'm going to get back. And I would finish the whole thing.
Right.
But sometimes, not every day, but every day, so I was like, just going to hit pause and here and take a rest.
Well, but like, Tammy and I, because we have the same injuries and have to do the same modifications, have been, trying to do our own workout.
Yeah.
Dude, it's all I can do sometimes to stay awake. We'll start stretching, and we're laying on the ground, and it's like, I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody cares. There's nobody paying attention.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I need like a coach or somebody next to me to know that I have to keep going.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll stop halfway through. And then at home, I don't have this time to myself. So it's always like, Mom or Honey, As soon,
Right.
they don't talk to me all day. As soon as I go to do this workout, here everybody comes interrupting me. So
that's why I say you can work out with me and talk to me later, or you can.
Yeah.
So I lost a lot of focus during COVID, and then coming back, I don't know, I gained like 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Mm.
It was hard getting back in here, and I'm like, and you're a coach, and you're just like, oh, God. But it took me a little while to get back into the rhythm of things. And I have to be a person that has kind of like a routine.
Mm-hmm.
And when my routine gets out of whack, it's like, the S hits the fan.
I think you can still say that word.
Okay, really? You can say the S word, but not the F word. Huh, interesting. Okay. I'll put that
Duly
in my...
noted.
I'm making up my own rules here, but yes. But that is the thing with PG-13 movies. You can have one F word.
Oh.
That's a real thing. They usually, it's really funny. If you watch them, watch for where and how they use it, because they usually try and use it to the most
This
impact.
is our only one.
Yes.
Right, make it count.
Make it count.
It's got to have that full impact of the F-bomb.
Wow. Yeah.
But, getting back into my routine, getting back into Power Hour, that's where it came back. That's where it all started to, lifting the heavy stuff, building that muscle again. Mm-hmm. That's what, really started to help get that weight back off. I'm not where I was, close, but not there. But, I feel freaking amazing.
You're getting
okay?
There. All right.
Because I know I'm strong as shit. Okay? And,
Teeha's as strong as shit smells.
That's right.
I just made smelly shit do a good thing. Whatever.
And, I may not look like what people think I should look like, but I think I look great.
Makes you look like Teeha.
Oh, we can talk about what other people think you should look like. That's
the one thing I heard
story.
that I remember, remind myself about is, someone's opinion of you is none of your business.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's tough, but true.
Yes. It is.
Yeah.
So you know what? I am happy with where I am right now. I'm still, working on it, but I'm happy where I am.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you think, because you're not living in my freaking body. So.
Yeah.
Well, if my opinion of you is none of your business, I'll stop telling you how great you look.
Well, you can. I'll take all the good opinions.
But let me ask you something, because, this is something that I've experienced. When I hit, I was real close to, the number that I had in my head, too. Mm-hmm. As I remember asking Josh, what else can I do? And he was like, well, just keep doing what you're doing. That didn't work for me.
Right.
When you get to that, goal or whatever, and you feel like you have nothing else to achieve.
Right.
That's where it's really hard, I think, to keep going. And I don't know if you experienced any of that.
Then I'm like, well, what else? Now I'm here, so now what do I do?
Yeah.
And this is the other thing. So, my job in Chicago, right? I was losing weight. And, oh, man, everybody was, once they started noticing, everybody was encouraging, good work.
Right.
So proud of the way you're eating. I wish I ate like that, blah, blah. I got, really lean, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, eat a cookie.
Yeah.
So it's all of a sudden you've got this different experience. You've got people throwing food in your face, and you can have treats, and you know what happens once you start making the treats a habit again, right?
Right.
Yeah. So there's all this stuff, brains, mental, emotional, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
now you recently shared a picture of yourself from before any of us knew you.
Yeah.
And we were like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Who's that lady?
Well, somebody sent that to my friend. So I golf, and I'm not a golfer. I golf. Let's not have high expectations here. I'm fine to the point, I've been doing it for a few years. I enjoy it in the summer. I'm not ready to join. I'm not going to leave Fit Life and go join the LPGA tour.
Okay.
So don't worry, folks. I'm here to stay. But my friend that I golf with, we don't see each other a lot over the winter. And I'd seen her last year, and I had lost some weight from the previous year. And she's like, wow. When I saw her this year for the first time, I got out of the car, and I'm waving, and she's looking at me, and I'm like, hey, dum dum, I'm over here. Hello, it's Kari. She was like, oh my God. And she had other expletives that I won't share because they're not appropriate for this podcast. I didn't even recognize you. She's like, I didn't even recognize you. And then that night I got home from golf and she sends me this picture and she was like, I have this picture of you from a couple years ago. And she goes, I don't even know who this person is. And I thought, I don't know who that person is either. But it's different because you see yourself every day. Yeah. And so the changes happen slowly and subtle.
Right. I know who that person is.
Yeah.
That's the person who made choices to bring this person to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. So yeah, it was interesting to see that. And I remember being that person and not being able to figure out why I felt like crap all the time, and I'm tired all the time, and my stomach always hurts, and I was eating like crap. And that was another thing. Like when I started here, when I figured out the eating, I was like, oh my God, this is what it feels like to have energy and like feel good. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I don't want to go back to that.
Right.
Yeah. And I kind of went the opposite. Like I had started working out here like right before shutdown, but I did keep up. And then I think when COVID happened, I was nervous. I was like, oh, I'm on a roll here. So I'm going to keep doing the virtual workouts. But also I was hiking almost every day.
Oh, nice.
Like staying really busy. And I was getting up. My poor dog was hiding from me because he's like, please don't make me go on another walk, Mom, please. I was walking him multiple times a day. And then I had all this nervous energy because I like to be around people too. But when I get stressed, I don't like eat or drink. I shut down. So I kind of got back into like some bad habits though of not eating enough because I was like,
I have the opposite problem when I get stressed.
And
I eat it all.
Yeah. But it was hard to like not be around people. And I was nervous because I thought, well, I don't want to go back to that.
Right.
And I want to make like some good strides and good gains here. So I was trying to stay on a roll, but it was hard. Like it's like you said, when people aren't watching you, and not that I need people watching you, just like knowing that your presence is there, and I'm not going to half-ass it, with you watching me, like knowing that somebody is there watching.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's funny you say that because like I have to modify a lot of things right now, and it used to bug me. And now it's almost became, I don't want to say a badge of honor, but it's become like this neat thing that I'm suddenly an expert in.
Yes.
And I feel like it helps make some of our members or other people more comfortable with modifications too.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, look, Shauna's doing it this way. Oh, that means I can do it this way instead of the way that's hurting me. And
Yeah.
And I used to have a hard time modifying when I would come in here because, you're the coach.
Right.
Yep.
So, you got to go balls to the wall all the time. But, I walk in here like, oh, my lower back is killing me today. So I'm not going to do that. And that's okay. It's okay to modify. You tell the members to modify it all the time. So you better practice what you preach,
it's
sister.
Hard, though, because when you're working out in a room full of people, it was like right before Mother's Day weekend, we had the rope slam burpees. I did the first round. We rotated twice that day. I got over to we had gorilla squat presses that day. I went to sit down into my first squat and I felt my back go ping. But what did I do? Because there was a room full of people. I was like, oh, I told myself, oh yeah, you have to do, and I did them like an idiot. And then I set myself back. I didn't work out. Like I went to the pool.
Yeah.
And swam, but I didn't work out for a week here. Like I was able to demo and things like that, but I set myself back because I made a stupid decision and didn't listen to my body. So it's easier said than done sometimes though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard.
I feel like I always get hurt on like my last rep. I'm like, this is getting really hard, but I can do one more rep. And it's like, nope.
Your body said, I told you.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that was the warning.
You were not listening to me.
Yellow light.
Yep.
Yeah.
Caution.
Yep. And I just kept going. I'm like, I'm going to run that
Yeah,
red light every time.
Run the red light.
Yeah, pain is actually the red light.
Yeah.
The things you feel before pain are the yellow lights. So you're actually supposed to stop before you hurt.
The yellow light.
And
stop at the yellow light.
Stop at the yellow light.
It takes time.
It does take time.
It takes time to figure out.
Yeah. I know.
Moral of the story, modify, kids.
Modify. Yep.
Well, because the other moral of the story is, so that only took you out for a week.
Yeah.
What if it had taken you out for months?
I know.
How much more does that slow you down
I would have been
than
devastated.
modifying, right?
Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
You don't lose a lot of ground by doing an easier version of an exercise to keep yourself safe. You lose a lot of ground by injuring yourself and not being able to do anything for months.
Well, and then I felt like that tightness yesterday after I did the gorilla crawls. So I did do, I modified my power step ups. I did not do them because I knew that was not going to end well for me.
Yeah.
So
take the power out of your power step ups.
Yes. Yep.
That's what I have to do right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, even with the modifications, you can make it a little challenging. Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of people who don't listen and do what they're told,
Kari,
we're talking about kids now.
Right? I just went,
we have to.
Well, the good news is your kids probably won't listen to this unless yours is listening from the back. We can't tell.
Right.
I'm sure she couldn't hear that. It's fine.
No, she's fine. She's got her headphones on and on TikTok. We don't exist.
On the TikTok.
I'm sure she's picking up some good stuff from that.
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
I'm going to put you on TikTok. That's a totally different story. You and your crowns.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that.
Yes.
But, we talked earlier about, like, people sometimes when they'll be like, oh, I'm not in good enough shape to come in or whatever. The other one you get a lot is, like, my kids need this. I don't have time. I have to do this for my kids. I have to do this for my kids. I have to do this for my kids.
Right.
What we try to tell people, and they don't believe usually at first, we talk about the concept of, like, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
Or the oxygen mask on the airplane.
Yeah.
Concept, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to put the oxygen mask on yourself first,
right?
So that you can help other people,
right?
Moms don't ever want to put the oxygen mask on themselves. They're going to put it on their kids, their husband, and their pets, and then be like, "Who else needs one?" Right?
Yeah.
But I think, and I'm not a mom, so I can't speak to this, but I'll let you do it. A lot of people find that as they start taking better care of themselves, they're actually better parents.
Yes.
I know you mentioned earlier,
yeah.
your family can't actually stand you when you're not working out. So.
Not even that. It's not safe for them to be around me. It's not safe for anyone to approach me if I am not working out regularly.
So in your case, the I'm nicer after I work out shirt
true.
is
It
very...
is 100% true. Accurate. It has taken me a long time to realize that, though. And this is funny because even after, like, I was active during both of my pregnancies. I swam, I hiked, I lifted, like, light weights. So I stayed pretty active, and I was lucky. I didn't gain a lot of weight. I was, like, right in the range where I should have been with both of my kids. And I carried them. They were Wilsons. My husband used to call me Wilsons. It was like the basketball or volleyball. They were all belly. So I, like, bounced back. Although my second one, like, Drew was like that. Ryan was a C-section, so I carried a lot of extra weight.
I need to see pregnant pictures of Carrie.
Okay,
now.
Yeah.
I want to see the Wilsons.
I glowed. I don't need to brag, but, like, I could have been a pregnancy model. I had the thick, luxurious hair.
Yeah, pregnancy hair is the best.
When we went over to tell my parents, my dad.
What's pregnancy hair?
Oh, pregnancy hair
gets real thick and
shiny
Okay.
When we
so
went
that seals
over,
that I'm never getting pregnant. My hair's thick enough.
We went over to tell them that I was pregnant the second time. My dad looked at me and he was like, "Oh my God, are you pregnant?" He goes, "You're glowing." He said, "You look the way that you did when you were pregnant with Drew." He's like, "Look at you. You just like," I was like, "Well, the cat is out of the bag." So we'll pull those pictures up. I'll find them for you.
That's amazing.
But the second time around with Ryan was harder to lose the weight because he was a C-section. So I actually gained less with him. However, when they cut right through those abs, because they have to get the baby out.
Yeah.
I'm like, you could have just left them in there. No.
Do you have to mess with the
abs?
You have to,
and then, like, scar tissue and all that fun stuff. But I did manage to stay active. However, it was like fitting that in. And then Eric used to travel for work, and it was international. So this is what kills me. Like, he would be out of town, and nobody was like my I love my parents and my in-laws, but
Yeah.
nobody was helping out. Like, so I wasn't getting self-care. Like if I wanted to get my hair cut, I had to either pay somebody to come watch the kids. I didn't want to ask any of my friends because they all had like their own kids. Our kids were all the same age. I'm like, I'm not dumping two more, like a toddler and a newborn on you when you have your own toddler and newborn. But my mom like literally said to me one time, well, can't you just schedule your hair appointment for when Eric gets home from work? I'm like, and when would that be? Because he worked like long hours. He still works in Cleveland. Like he has a different job now, but so there's me like raising my two kids and I was still exercising because that was my sanity. But it was like I exercised. I used to do like the Taibo kickboxing and I had like beach body videos. I had a whole catalog of DVDs and videos and I had equipment at home. And I was literally like sneaking workouts in between, but then it was always like I'd put one down and the other one would wake up from the nap and I would get 20 minutes of a workout in and then I would be pissed off. I would be so angry trying to get that time. But then I will never forget when I had my back surgery and Eric had to take care of me and the kids. There were people coming out of the woodwork to help us. I was like, what? What the hell was this? Like, I needed your help. Like, and where were you? Not here because she's got it covered.
That's can handle anything.
I don't know if either of you I know you like 3 weeks ago in our challenge workshop we talked about emotional health and one of the things is emotional labor. And it says like women get stuck with most of the emotional labor. And that's exactly what you're just describing is everyone thinks because you're a woman, you've got this covered. They don't expect Eric to have it covered. So all of a sudden the help comes out. It's like women need help too. We get a lot put on us. And expected to handle it all.
And people don't realize, like, if you don't spell, like, he's fantastic, but if I don't spell it out for him, I need you to do this or come to this appointment with me or do this. He just figures like we've had this conversation before. Like, well, you're just really good. Like, you handle everything, and I never knew that you were struggling. Well, I was struggling. Like I was miserable. Like our kids, I felt like when they were newborns and toddlers, I do feel like I was a really good mom. I love my kids. Oh my God, they're fantastic. I love them more than anything. However, when they were young, oh my God, I was exhausted all the time. I was miserable. There was a lot of crying. There was a lot of like, we would get, and I had like a good group of friends like that we would get together, but our kids were always there. We're like, can we just like, not have somebody with me? And I had like Drew was like the dream baby. He was so easy and happy. However, he was born with bilateral clubfoot, so he had 6 surgeries before he was even 2 years old.
Wow.
He had physical therapy like twice a week, then a home program that I had to do with him. All this extra stuff that I was and then comes Ryan. So I'm still taking Drew to his therapy and doing all that. Ryan, thank God, made him beautiful for a reason because that kid was crying. He cried all day. The only time he didn't cry was when he was sleeping at night. So it was exhausting. And I felt like I was carrying the burden of all that. And then the stress from like Drew's medical stuff. And he has some other medical issues that popped up as he got older that I was handling alone. I was going to all the appointments. And so like, sitting in those appointments and hearing news about things by yourself. And like my husband is on the other side of the planet. Like he's in another country. And then I'm processing this news. I've got a crying baby on my shoulder and then I have to go home and still take care of them. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I gotta be with you the rest of the day. So can you just go to sleep now? I was exhausted. So I was not taking good care of myself. Like I said, I was still trying to work out, but like my eating was crap. What is interesting about the whole thing with parenting, though, the entire time I was pregnant and I nursed both my kids, the entire time I was nursing, my diet was spot on because
you're trying
it was somebody else.
You had to feed
so
the baby.
as they got older, I was like, that's messed up. Like, why was I putting so much time into that for them and I couldn't do that for myself? Like, oh my God, I don't cry, but I'm going to cry because it was like, that's so sad though, like to say it. It's the first time I ever said it out loud. Like, my God, like how sad is that? Like, okay, I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to put like good food in my body and take good care of myself for you, but I can't do that for myself.
Hugs don't make good audio, but for those of you, I'm going to make you laugh now because that's what I do.
Make me laugh because
I make
just like I just said that out loud, and I'm like,
oh,
how
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop the second F-bomb. How fucking pathetic is that like I was not willing to do that for myself. I would do that for my child, but not for myself.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's pathetic, but I think it's interesting. And I think a lot of people might, like, to me, like, that's almost like an epiphany kind of thing.
Yes.
Like,
Right.
oh, I do know how to take care of myself. I do know what's right to put in my body.
Yeah.
Because I've done it. So then
Yeah.
you think, oh, I can do it again.
And I was so regimented and almost like maniacal about it. Like it was like, oh, when I was pregnant, I was like, oh, I have to eat lunch and I'm going to eat, like, I would eat a box of, like, you know, the frozen broccoli or spinach. I would eat one of those with every meal. Because my kid's seed folic acid. So I've got to eat this. I have to get, like, this nourishment in my body. But then when I was done being pregnant and done nursing, I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to shove this bag of pretzels in my mouth and it'll keep me going through the day. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Kari, you had a lot on your hands, as you've just described.
Yeah.
So it's not actually that surprising that you were feeding yourself comfort because no one was comforting you and you had a lot of stuff you needed comfort for. And now you have Teeha to hug you. So you don't need to shove bags of pretzels in your face.
Right. I don't need to shove pretzels. I'll just take a hug from Teeha.
Yes. Free hugs all the time. Whenever you want them.
And but that's one thing that we see here, especially like stay-at-home moms.
Yes.
They come here and it's like grown-up time.
Yes. Yeah. And I did. I was like, I did contract work like here and there. Like this is funny, but I used to teach parenting classes, which was interesting. We'll have another talk about that another day. But for the most part, like I was home with them because, like I said, Eric traveled. And I didn't have help, and it would have cost me more to put. How sad is that? It would have cost me more to put my kids in daycare than what I would have made.
Right.
So then it kind of like I had some as they got older, and I finally just like let this go. A couple years ago, I had resentment. I was like, I gave up, and I would never take it out on them. But like I thought I'm like I gave up like so many years for you, little effers. Like, and I felt like I lost part of myself for a little bit doing that because I would have liked to. But now I love my time that I had with them. Like, I wouldn't give that up for anything. And like I said, they're great kids, but there was some resentment because, like, I'm watching my husband, like, his career's taking off and he's doing fantastic. And I was like, well, what the hell? I want to be fantastic too.
Right.
So,
because
I am fantastic.
Yeah. You become wife and mom, and then you kind of lose who you are. And refocusing and taking some time to spend with yourself, either here or out with your friends without any children.
Yes.
Or, I don't know, even just taking a walk with your dog by yourself, listening to this podcast. Time for yourself.
Planting flowers.
Getting out in that garden. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, whatever makes you feel happy, do that. If it's not like once a day, do something at least once a week for yourself.
Yeah.
And I know your kids are a little older now, but it's like, have you ruined your children's lives by taking this time for yourself to come work out and take care of you?
No. And I think I'm providing her a good example of that she should take care of her body, and she should take care of herself mentally and physically, and not become like lose yourself in your relationship or your children or whatever, your job. You know, you need to be able to be your true self. And when you are happy in your true self, then everyone around you will be happy.
Yes.
Like when they say, when mom is happy, everyone else is happy. That's the truth.
And so the other thing, and again, I preface, I'm not a mother, but I read a lot.
Yes.
Yes, I did that. Yes, that was what you thought it was. Children model.
Yes.
So if you actually want your kids to grow up to their best selves, you need to model taking care of yourself.
Right.
Because if you model putting yourself last,
Yep.
then your kids are going to grow up to put themselves last.
Right.
So if you model taking care of yourself, your kids are going to grow up and take care of yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So putting them first and yourself last is actually doing them a disservice.
Right.
Because you're just perpetuating the cycle, and they're going to grow up and, and take care of everyone but themselves too. And then you're going to be like, I had such high hopes for you.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And
why are you just as miserable as I was?
Yeah, that's how I grew up. Like my mom, I do not recall her doing much of anything for herself. You know, we were her main focus. And then when I had my daughter, I'm like, okay, well now it's like I have to live for her and stop living for myself.
So did anyone else think their parents were incredibly old when you were a kid?
Yes.
So I thought my parents were incredibly old. The reason that they didn't do anything was because they were too old. Of course, all they did was take care of me, because what else would you do with your life? It didn't make any sense to me. But like, they did have friends and they did do certain things, but not like a huge amount.
Right.
And now I'm always like, oh man, did I screw everything? Like, I'm like, well, I was the baby, so I didn't screw everything up for them. My brothers did.
Yeah. They came in.
But that's interesting that you were talking about your parents. Like my parents, my friends have like still refer to my parents as like the Cleavers. They are like Ward and June Cleaver. My mom stayed home. My dad worked. But then like my mom was like the perfect mom. Like she was just, like you said, devoted herself to us. Like I do remember her, like as we got older, like doing things, and like she used to exercise, like she still exercises, but she used to swim. She would take walk, like hike a lot and walk. And my dad has always like taken good care of himself. But I felt like when my kids were younger, like if I wanted to go do something, I felt guilty, like the mom guilt, but it was like the mom guilt, like the guilt from my mom. And like even when I started like back to work and I was doing contract work, or it was always like, oh, are you sure you want to do that? Isn't that going to take time away from the kids? And it was like, oh, so I don't deserve, I should just be. And there's nothing wrong with being home and taking care of your family. I'm not saying that. My point is, for me, I always felt like I wanted more, but I felt guilty. I felt guilty for feeling that. And then when I started doing it, I would like every time I would do something for myself, even when I would like got back into exercise outside of the house, I joined a gym that had a babysitting facility. I would feel guilt because I could see them from where I was. I was like, I don't want to see you while I'm trying to work out because I'm feeling guilty. Like and they're having fun in daycare, but I'm like, oh, I should be with you right now.
And I know sometimes it makes it challenging for people that we don't have daycare facilities here. But I honestly, like, I want this to be your grown-up space.
Yes.
I want this to be your space.
You're always worried about, okay, well, what's happening? Even though they're here.
Yeah.
What are they doing over there? Are they behaving themselves? Hopefully they haven't bitten anybody or thrown anything at one of the other children. So your mind is not focused on taking care of you because you're still worried about the kids.
Yep.
And the other thing is, if they're not or if they are misbehaving and you are focused on you, then somebody else who's working out is probably being distracted by your children.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that happen before too.
Yeah,
because some moms actually are really good at ignoring. Maybe because my kid's that wild at home and I ignore them. It's like, well, it's a little different here.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have to take some time for yourself.
You do.
And see, I don't know if my mom ever felt that mom guilt. She might have felt it and just not showed it because she knew she had things that had to get done anyway, like in terms of working or whatever. I know she said that I was really upset when she first went to work because she babysat when I was really little.
Okay.
Which was cool. I used to want to be a teacher because, I'm like 5 years old and she's got these like 1-year-olds and I'm trying to teach them the alphabet. Yes, for real.
I could see 5-year-old Sean.
Yep.
Yeah. Trying to teach babies the alphabet.
Yeah.
I tried to teach my next door neighbor how to read when we were 6. Like, I knew how to read. I didn't know how to teach it at 6. But she said that when she first went to work that I was upset about it. I don't remember that. All I remember was like later being 12 or 13 and loving summers with no parents around.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because 12-year-olds in a small town with no parental supervision is a fun time.
Yeah.
But like in high school, I think she drove me to school in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And she always kind of complained about it. But I also think that was probably like one of her favorite times a day because it's before she had to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When I get home from school, she's not going to be there. When I had a job, like, then, she doesn't see me.
Right.
I go to school, she goes to work. I go to work, she comes home from work.
Mm-hmm.
I come home from work, she goes to bed, right?
Yeah.
So I think in some ways that morning time, even though it was like, well, you should be taking the bus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was actually like bonding time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But there were things. It was like when I was in high school, and it blows my mind sometimes with kids today, I had to have a job I could walk to.
Yeah.
Because there was no guarantee I was going to get a ride or access to the vehicle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I always kind of felt like I did what, like my parents' schedules came first and mine had to work around theirs. And now it seems a lot of times people are like, well, I can't do that because I have to take the kids here, I have to do that.
Yeah.
No, also lived in a small town. Most things were walking distance.
Yeah.
And so when you get in a bigger space, it's almost impossible to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when people are like, well, I can't do that because of my kids, I'm like, this was not my experience growing up.
I'll see. It's
Like-
interesting now that mine are older. They're like, "Oh, Mom, you should go do that."
Yeah.
And like when you talk about like modeling things, like this was, like I said, it took a lot for me to accept this and say yes to it. And they were like, "Mom, that's so exciting!" Like they were legit like happy for me and excited. And I like when I did my certification and passed my tests, like they saw me studying for it, and they saw like the stress and
Yeah.
like when I passed, they're like, "Mom, that's awesome!" But like them seeing that process, like if you work hard, you have to put work into it,
Right.
and good things happen, is good learning. For
And I
them,
know
too.
when they're little kids, there's nothing you're gonna be able to say to make them understand that.
Right.
They just
No.
want mommy there.
No.
But as they get older, like sometimes I'll challenge people. It's like, go home and ask everyone in that household if they don't want you to do something to make yourself
Right.
happier.
Yeah.
And either they're all going to say yes, or you live with a bunch of dicks.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That's the truth.
but also if you spend their whole lives teaching them that mom comes last,
Right.
Mhm.
don't be surprised if they think mom comes last.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
That's even good for girls and boys, for boys to know that, their wives
Yeah.
shouldn't be the last person on the list
Right.
at the house. Like,
Yeah.
she needs to be taken care of
Yeah.
just as much as the kids
Mm-hmm.
and him.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, wife is very important. And with girls, same thing.
Right.
You are just as important as your kids,
Mm-hmm.
as your husband. Well, it should be your husband and wife and then the kids.
Yep.
Well, it's actually wife.
Well, wife and then husband and then the kids.
husband. Sometimes it's wife and then dog and then husband. No, I'm just teasing.
But so what's interesting about that is like I spend most of my adult life single.
Mhm.
I like a good 15 years. It was just me.
Mm-hmm.
I learned to do a lot of things on my own.
Yes.
Yeah.
I started dating my husband. This is one of my favorite stories. We're in Walmart. I took him shopping with me. It's like 10:30 at night because I used to do all my shopping when no one else was.
Yeah.
It's my favorite time to
It's a good
shop.
plan. Nobody's
Mhm.
there. Yeah.
So we go to the
Walmart's weird during the day.
self checkout, and
Yeah.
and he starts taking things out of the cart to put on the thing, and I go, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm helping." And I was like, "Oh, that's what help is?
Yeah.
Weird." I
Mhm.
hate help, by the way. It's a whole thing. Don't ever help me unless I ask. Don't just start doing things for me because you're probably doing it wrong, and I'm just going to get mad.
Yeah.
No, I remember this. It's not relevant. I used to work at KFC in high school, and the guys that were taller than me would try to get things down for me, and I'm like, I can do it.
Like,
Anyway, but so one of the things that we really had to work through was this concept of teamwork
mhm.
because I tried to do everything
Yeah.
by myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's important in families. It's like, no, like the mom does not do everything.
Right.
It should be a team,
Yes.
right?
But it took us like I said, a long time to get there because some of the stuff, like when the kids were babies, he was working. He
Right.
he I was lucky that I was able to be home with him. He had a good job, but it took him away a lot. But then, like, when he was home, he would literally say, I'm not a mind reader. You got to tell me what you need. Like, I don't see that there's like laundry. I'm like, how do you not see that there's laundry that needs to be folded and put away?
And would Kari now be much better at being like,
Kari now
oh, hey, you're home. I need your help with this. Or, hey, mom, can you get your butt over here and help me with the kid? Like,
now I'm like,
hey, much more of an advocate for yourself.
You're
now,
doing
right?
this. I need you to do this. The kids think their first name is I need. I always say please and thank you, but hey, I need you. Well, like, okay, case in point, I coached yesterday, the 8:15 and 9:15. I worked out before that. I brought something to eat with me. My younger one wanted to go to the pool, and I wanted to go to the pool yesterday. It was nice. So I was like, I'll take you when I get home. However, I need to eat. So can you make me something? And this is what I want. And I told him and he made it. So when I got home, he had my meal ready for me. I was like, well, you want to go to the pool? Well, I want to eat. So yeah. Either I can make myself something when I get home, and it's going to prolong us getting to the pool.
I probably would have done a lot more things growing up for that exchange.
Yeah. Right. Like, what do you need? House clean, completely done.
Yeah. But it's taken a while. It's taken me a long time to get there. But I never asked for help when I was younger. So yeah.
And I still struggle with that a bit. I don't know why, because when I ask, well, my daughter's a different story because she's a preteen and she acts like she's selective hearing.
It's like,
and I don't like to deal with that. I don't like to deal with that. But with my husband, when I ask him to do something, he does it. So I don't know why I just don't ask him. But then I'm like, why should I have to ask you? Like you said, you don't see this laundry sitting here or these dishes in the sink.
I have the same thing with my husband. It's like, do you not know that needs to be done? Like,
well, the other thing is, I like things done
a certain way.
I have a standard.
I know. I keep telling Mike that I'm going to have to show him how to do the dishes because I won't do the dishes sometimes because I can't stand the way he puts things in the sink. And I'm like, no, this is already wrong. I'm going to have to take everything back out, organize,
But then I am like, is the world going to end if the towels are not folded the way that I want them? It might. I don't know. It can't knock on wood. It has not yet. So I'm like, but I will say, maybe next time, like, here's an example of how we fold towels, and I do it. And sometimes it gets done correctly, and sometimes it doesn't, but it gets done, and they get put away. And I'm like, I don't have to look at it right now.
Right.
The hardest one for me is it's like, okay, we've had this conversation 5 times, and you're still not doing it the way I want you to. And then I have to remember that, like,
don't discourage him. He's making an effort.
He's making an effort.
The way he wants it done is not necessarily wrong. It's
it's just not the way you want it. Which makes
but this is the problem with spending 15 years single.
Yeah.
Because I'm very used to everything being my way.
Mm-hmm. I understand that.
Yeah.
Your way is the right way.
Yes. Every time.
Yeah. Teeha just earned Employee of the Month with that comment.
That makes up for me being
Thank
her
you.
favorite person. So. She was missing from her life.
Yes.
Right. I haven't forgotten that comment.
See, she's going to spit that out all the time now.
Right.
I am.
I've created a monster.
Shauna did say.
Do you remember?
You remember when
we
Shauna
have it? It's on the podcast.
It's recorded.
It's recorded.
I'm going to say other things that aren't recorded. Okay. You may like them less. Speaking of which,
okay.
Is there anything we've missed or anything else you guys want to get in here before I wrap this up?
Okay. So I did write down a few things.
Okay.
Just at the end here.
Oh, okay.
And just a little jot it down. Because I think it's important for people to understand that this fit life is a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is not a diet.
Yeah.
This is, once you start, you'll have your highs and your lows, and then your highs again, and then your lows again. And sometimes you'll have the flat road there, but, this is going to take you to you should work on this forever. And till the end of your days, you should still be working on these things. Because there's no quick fix. And once you stop, inevitably everything will come back.
Oh my God. So I saw this ad on Facebook and it's for some diet pill or something.
Ugh.
But this woman is like, I don't know what was wrong with my body, no matter how much I worked out and ate healthy. As soon as I stopped, the weight would come right back on. And I'm like, yes.
That's what's wrong.
That's exactly.
That's stopped.
Yeah.
Right.
Spoiler alert. That's what's
Right.
wrong.
I'm like,
Right.
I'm like, this is the worst ad ever, because you're literally telling people that the thing that
Was helping you.
is helping,
But-
and the thing that is how life is supposed to work
Right.
is wrong.
Yes.
When I stop exercising,
and
eating right, and start eating pizza every night, I put weight back
I
on.
wonder how'd that happen.
I know,
One of life's
isn't that
biggest
weird?
mysteries.
Right.
It's such a misconception though, because I think people do think like, okay, I reached my goal. I'm to this point.
Now,
Now I can do whatever I want.
Yes.
I don't have to exercise and eat because I got to this point. No,
Right.
you still have to. And there's a little bit like when you do lose the weight, there's a point that I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I'm like, oh my God, I'm here. I'm finally here, like where I want to be. I hit my goal, and I'm nervous. Like oh my God, I don't want to backslide. Can I keep this up? Like I don't want to get back to that point where I started.
Yeah.
Like it's a little nerve wracking. Like I'm looking over my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like those calories are coming.
They're chasing you
Stay
down.
back there. Stop chasing me down. You're not going to catch me.
So this is your fit journey.
Yeah.
So
that's why you have to find ways to like it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're miserable, you're never going to do it for as long as you need to do it, which is your whole freaking life.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you have to make it work for you. And because this has to maintain you for the rest of your life. And if you stop, then we're just going to have to start back.
And I think, again, like one thing to add to that mindset, like I think, like you said, a lot of people start this thinking, I want to look a certain way, I want to drop some pounds. But once you start, pay close attention to when you do start being more consistent with your exercise and your nutrition is on point, and pay close attention to how you feel.
Yeah.
Because when you tune into that and you're like, oh my, like I said, it was like life changing. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not exhausted all the time.
Right.
I feel really good. I feel good. I have energy to do things that I want to do.
Right.
Remember that feeling, because you want to stay in that zone.
Yeah.
And I think when you talk about the energy and feeling good, it's important to remember, like, even if you eat something else, like those foods still help you. So my birthday this year, I had too much dessert. I had a cake, lemon bars, apple pie bars. My my financial advisor sent me a bucket full of cookies. Somebody I work with thought it was a great idea to give me wine spritzers and popcorn. So I spent the whole weekend eating chicken and vegetables for meals. Just chicken and vegetables and then cake. Chicken and vegetables and then cake. I felt fantastic.
Yes. Well, it doesn't mean that things to, like you can still enjoy things.
Right.
But if I had gone to it's my birthday, I'm going to eat this fried food, I'm going to get a burger and fries and wings, and just ate more junk with the junk, I would have felt terrible.
Right.
Like, this has nothing to do with weight loss, anything.
Right.
Like, just eating that chicken and veggies while I was having the desserts and the treats, I felt fantastic.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so much better.
Yes.
And you can I plan for things. I laugh because I think I told you this story.
Yes.
I went out to breakfast, like, was it last week or the week before, with my kids and my mom and my aunt. And we went to Wally Waffle. I love Wally Waffle so much. It was so good. And yes, it was worth it. It was 100% worth it. I planned for this for a week in advance. I was like, I'm going to Wally Waffle. I need to really be on target with my eating. And I planned every single meal around that breakfast because I knew. Now I still, like my older son and I, which he eats enough for like 10 people, but looks like he never eats because he's all, are you seen him? He's all arms and legs. It looks like he was chiseled out of stone. Like, it's not fair.
It's the age.
It's the age.
Yes.
We split like a strawberry waffle, but then we also shared an egg white omelet, which he ate most of all of it. But I still enjoyed my half a waffle. And I was like, I will stab you with this fork if you try to come for my half of the waffle. Like, back off. I enjoyed it. I didn't feel guilty about it. I ate the way that I normally eat around that, and for the rest of the day, I didn't skip a meal because I treated myself, and it was like I said, it was worth it, and I was fine, and I still felt great.
Right,
it was so good.
Yeah, whatever else you do, get your protein and veggies in, and you'll feel so much better.
Yeah,
yeah.
You got anything else? I'm trying to be mindful of the time.
Oh, okay.
For you.
Okay.
Okay.
There's something Teeha wants to get to.
There is a treat for me to
Sandy bottom bowls. Okay.
Yeah, we gotta get there. Okay. Just that, I know. Well, we're close in age, so we grew up in the age of the diet culture, right? And everything is a diet.
Low fat everything,
and you have to look a certain way. And if you don't look that way, then why don't you? You should be working harder. But I just want to say, strong is beautiful. Okay. When I see people over here with their biceps and their lats and their glutes and I'm like, oh, I catch myself staring at people all the time. All the time, like
I'm like, oh wait, hold that for just a second. Oh my
God, that looks.
Oh, look at those arms.
Right, like it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I wish more people would appreciate that instead of like you looking stick thin, because skinny may not be healthy. That skinny person you see may not be healthy. And there are plenty of skinny people around here that can't lift as much as I do, or you. Okay, so just put that in your back pocket. Okay,
and I think the bigger picture there is like everybody's different.
Yeah,
and it's like somebody may really enjoy being that skinny and they may be healthy, and somebody else may not be. So it's like kind of like embracing the rainbow as opposed to trying to fit in that box.
Right.
Yeah.
Love who you are in the body you're in, even if you want to improve it. That's fine.
And that's this is something we can talk about because you and I are going to perform better.
Yes.
And I told Josh, I said, I'm terrified. I am going to a fitness conference.
Yeah.
Looking like this right now, and it's like it's tough. And he was just like, Shauna, there's all kinds of different bodies. I'm like, yep, no, you're right. Like,
Yeah. And I always feel like that way when we go to these things. Like,
I'm jealous.
Oof.
That was the first time I went to one with Josh. I was terrified, and then I got there, and it was like, you got your skinny people, you got your thicker people, you've got your women with curves, your women without curves. It was just so many different body types. That it's like, oh, it's not just like me and my butt and a bunch of skinny people. Because it was always the butt. It's always the butt.
The butt winking at people.
So much butt.
It's always winking.
There's so much butt. It's all right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. I'd like to thank J-Lo. In college, I was like, thank you for making butts cool again.
Yes.
Thanks to Kardashians for continuing to make butts cool.
Yeah, their butts are ridiculous. That's too much butt.
No comment.
I think that's
if it makes them happy.
It is. Okay.
No, I'm really on this. I'm really on this.
If you enjoy that, good for you.
I wish that they enjoyed their natural bodies more, because I think that it can be damaging to other people
to
be like
that kind of image.
Yes.
But because that is, to get that way is not, you're not going to get that at any gym. But,
well, you probably can, but it's not going to be this one. It's going to be one. It's going to require a personal trainer. It's going to go back to those Hollywood movie types.
Yeah.
And the personal trainer and the dietitian and your team of people. Yeah.
Yeah. If you got a squad to help you, then you can have that.
Yeah.
Or if you're willing to do exactly what the coach and trainer tells you to the letter, all by yourself, which most people feels like
No. Once I found out what it takes to get like those 6-pack abs, like I don't want that.
She goes, I'm good.
I'm fine.
I have that conversation with everyone who tells me they want abs. I said, I'm going to pull up this precision nutrition cost to be a vegan infographic. I'm going to show you how to get abs, and you're going to tell me if you still want them.
Yep.
And then we're going to move forward. Let me know.
Yeah.
I said, that's not worth it. I would not be happy.
All right.
I would be hangry.
Yeah. I'm always hangry. It's not true. It's close to true. All right. We've now come to my least favorite part of the podcast. Oh, wait. You have one?
I do have a question for you.
Oh, crap. All right. I'll try and make this quick.
So you can make it.
I'm trying to make this quick because you're going to get mad at me if we
don't
get
to
those bowls in time.
I said, okay, so Shauna.
No. That wasn't the question. Sorry. That was just my name.
Is that your name?
Is that your name?
Is that your real name?
Yes.
Do you struggle with the imposter syndrome?
Yes. And I will clarify, not only do I struggle with the imposter syndrome, I struggle with the imposter syndrome no matter what body I'm wearing. I struggle with it now. Trust me, owning a gym and being heavy is a complete, all right, I guess we're all going to get one. It's a complete mind fuck.
Yeah.
It's really hard sometimes. But even when I was leaner, it was still hard. I didn't come from a fitness background. I didn't work out my whole life. You guys know, like, we talked about it earlier, how little you actually have to study to, like, become a personal trainer. So, like, it's like, oh, do I know enough about this? Like, so there's a lot of, like, I don't feel good enough. I don't feel qualified enough. I don't feel like I can do enough to be able to tell someone else how to do it.
Right.
If you are put next to someone who has that body type that we have in our heads, then it can be a lot of imposter syndrome, like to be standing next to them and trying to teach or trying to try to think of the right word. But, like, I've noticed, like, people are going to gravitate towards what that person thinks. You might actually know more. You might actually be able to help them more. They are going to gravitate towards that person that looks like the way they want to look. So that was a really hard thing for me to learn too. Because then I just started feeling it from a different perspective of, like, oh, nobody's going to take me seriously. But the thing about imposter syndrome is no one starts out with all this knowledge. Like, nobody starts out with all the knowledge in the world. You have to gain it. You have to start to gain it. So if you get so freaked out by imposter syndrome that you never start, then you're always going to be an imposter because you're never going to get the stuff you need. But there's a couple things that I learned. This is where I'm such a yes person, and I had to learn how to have boundaries and say no. And I used to think if I didn't know the answer to someone, that was where my imposter syndrome would really hit in. Like, well, I'm not qualified because I can't answer your question. As soon as I started getting more comfortable with no, or I don't know, but I'll figure it out. Let me find someone else to talk to you about that. That lessened the imposter syndrome because I wasn't acting like an imposter. If I'm trying to say yes to everything and have an answer for you when I don't, that's actually being an imposter. So the less I got away from that and was more authentic in my responses, like, no, I don't know, but I'll help figure it out. Then you lose some of that imposter syndrome because you're being more real. Gosh, I had one more thing and I lost it. That happens. My brain leaves me.
Sorry. That was amazing. I loved all of that.
Oh, yeah, I figured it. So this was wild to me, but a few months back I was doing a workshop or whatever, and I get this message from one of our members afterwards. And she's like, I can't believe how much stuff you know. And she's like, I want to learn from you. And that was a moment where I was like, well, no, there's no imposter here.
No.
Because I did not have a script. I was not running the presentation. I was just adding my knowledge to the conversation and got that response from it. So it's like after this much time, it's been almost 10 years, I think, that I've been working with Josh. It's like I know stuff. I know stuff.
Well, but I think, like,
I know a lot of stuff. I'm a nerd.
You know a ton of stuff. You have so much to offer, but I think the two of you together, it's always interesting to me, like, part of, like, becoming a coach, I was like, holy crap, seeing the amount of time and effort and your combined knowledge, both of you, that you guys put into this place is staggering. Like, to once you get, like, up behind the scenes and see what goes into what you put into this for your people, your family, because they're not just members, they're family. It was really interesting to get, like, a behind the scenes look. Like, I knew it was hard work, but I had no idea, like, everything that comes into it, that you guys, all the training that you have both been through, the knowledge that you both have, the work that you devote to this place. And it's nonstop. It doesn't turn itself off.
And so that's what's actually really funny because, like, my to-do list, it's like 15 things every day. 5 or 6 of them are little pieces of things I'm learning. And what I'm doing, taking the slight edge, which we talk about, but very simply, it's, you get farther by doing a little bit every day than if you try to do everything all at once. It's very easy if you think about it in the gym. you can't just go pick up a $500 or a 500-pound bar and deadlift it.
Right.
You've got to do these increments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm studying now in increments, because if I try to wait and do a big study session, I will never get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm studying 3 or 4 different things right now.
Mm-hmm.
Before we opened this place up, I mean, all we did was study. That's, before we got here, like I had a job in Chicago and I had a 45-minute bus ride, and I was learning and reading. And I used to sit at my desk and pretend I was working and watch these podcasts from this like women's health series. There were like 40 days of videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did that at work. Don't work there anymore. Doesn't matter. Okay. Teeha, we have 18 minutes.
Okay, I'm done. That's it.
It's very important that Teeha gets her treat today,
She
guys.
needs her treat.
I saw you tell somebody you'd be there at like 12:30, and I was like, no, you're not, but
Okay, that's fine.
it's okay. We'll get there.
Okay.
So this is my least favorite part. I have no idea how to end a podcast. It's the most awkward thing in the world.
It's awkward, but we had a good time.
We did have a good time.
Really good time.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you for speaking loudly and clearly.
You're welcome.
Thank you for wearing crowns the entire podcast.
Of course.
I just looked at sparkly things for 2 hours, and it was fantastic.
I know you love the sparkles.
Yeah.
So this bad boy is definitely getting split too.
Okay.
But anyway, thank you guys for joining me. Thank everyone for listening, watching, however you choose to imbibe your podcast. And join me for our next Fit Life journey. We got some cool stuff coming up.